Good morning.
Hi, Alice.
Hi, welcome.
I was mute. Hi, Elizabeth and Biko. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, welcome. Thank you for having us.
I'm from California. California is
Wonderful.
thinking of California's thinking of becoming its own country because it can't get the rest of the United States to lower its carbon footprint. California's electricity comes, I think, 98% from renewable sources.
That's incredible. It's incredible. I'm from Massachusetts, so I'm on the other side of the country.
We're waiting for one of our session hosts to join, but while we do that, would it be good to do a quick round of introductions?
Julia, you
Miranda,
start.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, hi, everybody. I'm Julia Hovenier. I am with the Catalyst 2030 Secretariat, and I facilitate collaborations. And this collaboration that you're about to meet today is one that's special and dear to my heart because obviously I want to save the planet, and I have full faith that the people in this room are capable of doing that by working together. And so I'm an American abroad. I'm based in the Netherlands in Rotterdam, which is a port city and responsible for, I think, 60% of the Netherlands emissions. So also a lot of work to do locally. And with that, I will pass it to Miranda.
Oh, thank you so much, Julia. So I'm Miranda Daniloff-Mancusi, and I'm based in Massachusetts. I had been working for most of my career in higher education, which I have just left because I am quite interested, very interested in getting involved in the climate change issue. I am, as I say, from Massachusetts. Boston, which is a coastal city, has been paying a lot of attention to climate change and especially sea level rise. We have a new mayor who's made this sort of a cornerstone of her administration. It's actually historic, a female mayor in Boston. I joined Catalyst 2030 just very recently, and I'm just very excited to learn what others are doing around the world. And I think this is, one of these huge challenges that is going to require a lot of collaboration globally. So I'm just really thrilled to be part of this today. And with that, I'll turn it over to Martin.
Hi, I'm Martin Furlong. I'm connecting from Buenos Aires, Argentina. I'm an international educator. I accelerate change initiatives around global education, around climate action, and sustainability. At the moment, I'm teaching at Tecnológico de Monterrey in Mexico. I teach a course, an MBA course related to responsible leadership, and another course also about the conscious enterprise. That's what we're doing now. Thank you. Turn to Miranda. No, Suvarna.
To Suvarna.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you, everyone. So, I had a big speech and all written, for the welcoming. So I'll do that probably a little bit later when we start properly. Thank you so much, Julia, for initiating these quick intros. So I'm Subarna, and I'm from Malaysia. What I'm doing at the moment is I'm with the higher education sector as well, just like Martin and Miranda. So I've been in the Malaysian higher education sector for the past 20 years actually. And my expertise are in education for sustainable development and also climate change education. And I teach sustainability related modules at the university to engineering students, business students, and also those taking technology courses. And I've also been very much involved in work within the communities here. We have the indigenous population here in Malaysia, and we've done quite a bit of work with them as well in trying to move forward the message that, the indigenous population have a lot to share with us, when it comes to understanding the environment and understanding climate change. Yeah, so that's a little about me. Shall I pass the session over to Deepa? Do you wanna introduce yourself, Deepa? Sorry to put you in the spot there.
Very happy to. Thank you. Apologies, I was late. Hi, everyone. My name's Deepa Merchandani, and I facilitate collaborations within the Catalyst 2030 Secretariat. So it's my role to support all of you in achieving and anchoring spaces that will achieve collaborations to create systems change. So really happy to meet you all. And if I can support the mobilization of your ideas, then please let me know. We're here to help support you. And everybody should be working on climate change, frankly.
Yeah.
General opinion. Yeah, sorry to interrupt your conversation, Sparta.
No, we were just doing a quick round of introductions.
Yeah. Okay, I think, shall we start, Julia? Because it's like 15 minutes into our session already.
Can I just say I have a Master's of Science degree from Duke University in Biomedical Engineering. I'm a member of the Global Greens. And I have put into the chat a project that I'm working on that's it changes the narrative for the environment, and it equalizes power. And I want to send my heartfelt concerns to the Yanomami, because when we should be sending our troops, our weapon systems, and our trainers to the Brazilian rainforest to protect it from miners and colonists, the Yanomami have been struggling by themselves, probably one of the only impoverished nations in the world, and yet they have no ability to protect themselves from the colonizers, who are actually probably the conquistadors, genetic progeny, who are destroying them and probably have committed genocide in the Amazon rainforest when we need to be protecting it. Thank you.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
Oh, can I send it to Sohini? Can you introduce yourself? Or
Sorry, I had an emergency at home, and so I couldn't join earlier. And it's a kind of a medical emergency. My daughter really cut her hand very badly. I had to take her to the doctor. Yeah. So sorry about that. Hi, my name is Shohini, and I work with an organization called Breakthrough, and I've been part of the Catalyst 2030 for the last 2 years. I co-chair the awards committee, and I am part of the climate action group. Was very, very kind to kind of take me under their fold. And I'm very interested. I'm interested in climate action. I'm also very interested to see how climate action and climate change actually affects women and girls, and other people of all genders. And people from marginalized backgrounds. So that's my special area interest and area of interest in this. Thank you.
Thank you, Sohini. Go ahead, Elizabeth.
Tokaridu Konstantina?
Yeah.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Konstantina, you're mute.
Mute.
Yeah, sorry for that. Hi, my name is Tongari Konstantina, and I'm located in Greece. I am a researcher in Digital Communication Network Global, and I'm head of the Department of Sustainable Development and Environment. Actually, my expertise in my field of concern is about just transition in coal phasing out. And I have been appointed as a European Climate Ambassador from the European Commission in Greece, and actually now we are working on a new theory about how to approach how to reach groups. I have joined the Catalyst 2030 since last year, and I am glad that I am part of this excellent group.
And so maybe finally, if Biko could introduce himself.
Yes.
Sure. Sorry, my video is off. I'm in the office. My name is Biko. I'm in Paris, and I do forestry projects with the aim of reducing carbon in the atmosphere. Yeah.
Thanks, Biko. Just out of curiosity, Biko and Elizabeth, are you all members of Catalyst 2030?
No, I'm not a member. So I was supporting someone in another session who's a member. So I saw this is more relevant to.
Yes. So I hope after this session is over, you guys join Catalyst 2030 and join us in this collaboration effort that we are working across. And we'd love to have you join us. Yeah. So okay, let's start with the session proper now, Julia, since we have everybody already in. Okay, so thank you so much. Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in this session today. So our event is called C2030 Temperature Check, Understanding the Landscape of Climate Action in the Social Change Sector. So, let me just give you a quick run through about how the session is going to run today. But before that, allow me to do some introduction so that I can share with you who our team members are. And I'll give you a little bit of history on how we came together, as a collective to work on this very important issue on climate change and climate crisis, and how SEs can play a role to advocate for climate change. Yeah. So good evening. If you're in a sector where it's evening, good afternoon, good morning, everyone. I know it's morning for Miranda. It's night here for me already. I'm going to be going off to bed after the session. So this is day 3 of Catalyzing Change Week. And again, welcome. Thank you so much for coming for our session today. Now, we did our introductions just now, so just to give you some perspective, so I'm Subarna, and along with me today, facilitating this session together with me are my friends from the Climate Crisis and also Gender IBG. So IBG stands for Interest-Based Group, and we've come together to work on this initiative, which is called the C2030 Temperature Check, as a collaboration happening between interest-based groups in within the Catalyst 2030 family. Yeah. So my co-facilitators today are Martin, Constantina, Miranda, and Sohini. So we've all introduced ourselves to you just now. And this CCW event, as I mentioned, is a collaborative effort, between two very important sectors within the C2030 family. So if I can just emphasize this again, it's the Climate Action or Climate Crisis Initiative and also the Gender Initiative. And why I want to explain this again to you is so that, when you become members of the C2030 family, we hope you can join this collaborative initiative, and information about this collaboration is available on the C2030 website. Yeah, so just to give you some history to how we got together. So this goes to August 2021, actually. So I reached out to Julia and Deepa, and we eventually got together, and then other members came along, Constantina, Eileen, Miranda, Martin, Sohini, we all came together. And we had an idea in mind, and that was we wanted to come together to envision what has now become the first climate crisis and gender understanding study within the Catalyst 2030 family. So our vision is very simple. We just want to advocate for greater awareness among social entrepreneurs on the need to champion climate action and become key stakeholders in policy advocacy for climate action, as well as how the gender component comes in as well. And I want to also refer to the latest Ipcc report, It was just released a few months ago, and this report has highlighted that humanity now is in its most vulnerable. Yeah. So the term code red was also used in the IPCC report to explain, how devastating the situation is currently. So apart from being the primary cause for climate change, we are also in a unique position to take action, right? To turn this challenge into a unique opportunity, right? This is an opportunity for us to do something to turn this crisis around, and collaboration, working across sectors is the way to go, yeah, moving forward. So many of us working within the social entrepreneurship space, it doesn't matter, you can be an educator, you can be somebody working on the ground with communities, you can be a very successful social entrepreneur, right? We all can play a role to advocate for the environment. Yeah, so later in the session, you will be able to, view two very important videos. The first is a video on the People's Report. So I'm not going to give out too much information at the moment. I want you to view the video. And then there's also a video from the Ashoka Foundation. So two very important videos setting the context for our session today. And it's also one of the reasons for why we came up with this session, and also the idea behind why we want to do this survey. Right. So the temperature check survey, we call this the C2030 temperature check. So what temperature are we trying to check? We want to understand, what's the current state, right, of understanding on climate crisis amongst social entrepreneurs, and how does the gender component, also feature within this understanding. So my colleagues Martin and Constantina will take you through this survey that we have constructed, and we hope to, get some feedback from all of you on the survey, on the items we have in the survey. And after you do that, after we do that, there's also an opportunity for you to be a participant in this survey, right? And we would love to have understand your voices, understand your needs better. So we will be having a small slot for you to fill up the survey. And following that, there'll be a breakout session. And well, not really a breakout. We will just, have this discussion within this window. And that session will be led by Miranda and also Sohini. And we will end the discussion session with a quick call for action and also a group photo. Yeah, so that is what we have planned for this session today. So please stay on until the end. And with this, everyone, we can move to the next segment, I think, which is the showcase of these two very important videos. So Julia, over to you for the showcase of the videos.
Sorry, 1 second.
No worries.
We're trying to ignite in each person the idea that forever we will protect,
Julia, but I
preserve
don't
this
see the
heritage
okay.
for
It's
generations
okay
to
now.
come.
This indigenous perspective of how foodways work is that we are a part of this ecosystem and not on top of it.
What we need is a politics of yes, right? A solutions-based politics. Like, how do we build a country with repurposing the fishermen, the coal workers, the farmers, all those folks that had jobs that people wrote songs about.
We need to rebuild supply chains of paper, of packaging, of wood-based fabrics to help kickstart the transition to circular economy.
What we really need is a global collective agreement, a non-proliferation of fossil fuels. Let's change mindsets. Let's get regulators understanding the systemic risks of climate change, and let's get the shareholders of these companies thinking about what they could be doing better.
So do not just sit back and relax. We have to act now and try to look around you, look inside you, and then connect both of them to actually make a difference.
Right. Thank you so much, Julia. So ladies and gentlemen, I would now like to pass the session over to my friend Martin and Constantina. Over to you.
Thank you, Suvarna. We'll start talking about why this temperature check. Because social entrepreneurs are a fundamental part of the climate change solution. Let's see, how do we go about transformative climate action? One word for the answer: together. For example, business working together with stakeholders to reset the system, including their consumers, employees, their investors, including communities, civil society, including social innovators. They are all partners in this global crisis, climate crisis. And to deal with the crisis, they are going to need to share a common purpose. They are going to need to inspire creativity and innovation. They are going to need to support a win-win mindset for the environment and for themselves. Social entrepreneurs play a key role in collective climate action by bringing their unique social perspectives to the table and adding credibility to these efforts. Catalyst 2030, as a global network of social entrepreneurs, it provides this opportunity to understand the landscape of climate action in the social change sector. Basically, what we want to understand is the levels of climate awareness and action within the membership. If we can go to the slide about what we want to understand. We want to understand awareness, right? Why? Because once you are fully conscious, once you are fully, once I'm not seeing the slide at the moment. Okay, I can see now. Yes. Well, social entrepreneurs play a key role in advocating for planetary health and helping others to become fully conscious. We want to see the challenges they are facing in raising awareness about the significance of climate action in achieving the SDGs. We also want to understand climate action, climate initiatives. In what areas, for example, is it adaptation, mitigation? Is it research, education, programming, funding? We want to understand the areas. As we have anticipated, this survey provides the opportunity to see how our members perceive the gender impact of climate change on women and girls, men and boys, in all their diversities. Also, we want to understand how our members are thinking about climate-conscious policy change and how we can influence policy development. Finally, in what areas collective action can add value to the work you're doing in order to accelerate your climate crisis preparedness. Also, we have a brief slide about what we could do with the inputs. Is the next slide. Excellent, thank you. With it, we will be able to present new insights on how the social change sector is tackling the climate crisis. Also, we can connect you to potential partnerships that will better equip your organization in dealing with the climate action. We could create an evidence base for policy advocacy. We can do many things. We will be able to identify which are the gender responses that are being used to mitigate climate change. We can also identify opportunities for collective problem solving to overcome the main barriers to collective action. This study, this survey, connects to 3 SDGs. We have the next slide. You can see number 5, gender equality. There is a relevant connection between gender and climate change. Women and men are impacted differently by climate change. That's why you're going to see several questions about this throughout the survey. We have SDG 13, climate action, because this climate crisis brings an opportunity to reset the system and embrace a more sustainable economy. And social entrepreneurs play an essential part in connecting the dots of the new system by bringing their social frames of mind, their social experiences to collective, effective, systemic action. Finally, SDG 17, right? Partnerships for the goals. We know, right? Climate change calls for unprecedented, inclusive action with social entrepreneurs, social innovators helping to bring about real change for us all, for the environment, and for future generations to come. So I'll hand the session over to Konstantina Togaridou. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Martin. And well, this is our survey Catalyst 2030 temper check. It actually takes only 10 minutes to reply to 37 questions categorized, and let's see what are these categories are. The first category of our survey refers to general information about your organization, your name and where is it located. The main question is, does your organization work on climate action? And if yes, please specify. The second category is related with operational questions. How much does climate factor into the day-to-day operations of your organization? Your climate actions, solutions, programs seeking for adaptation to climate change or mitigation of climate change? The third category of our survey is related with strategy planning. Actually, we want to know whether your organization has a climate action plan or not. And if the answer is yes, then you should just define if it is external or internal. Is it based on data? Do you need more data? And whether it includes a gender component for action. Category 4 has to do with policy planning. To what extent is climate policy adherence a consideration in your ecosystem? And to what extent is impact of climate change on gender a consideration in your ecosystem? The category number 5 is related with the funding. Where do you get your funding? And does climate factor into your funding strategy? Is actually a funding related to achieving your climate action plan? And the other category is the category of learning. Where do you get your data of climate change? You have got here many options: government agencies, private sector, NGOs, social media, blog, news sites, YouTube channels, in the university, and some other options that you should tick the correct box. And what about measurement? How do I understand the impact of your work? Actually, we want you to answer 2 questions. Do you regularly evaluate your work from a climate action point of view? And is gender a point of measurement in your work? And finally, not last but not least, we have got the category about open-ended questions. Here we want your contribution by listing out climate initiatives of your organization, if any has been undertaken. And we kindly ask you to share with us briefly any challenges you face in carrying out these initiatives. It's actually time to start action for climate change, and time to start action to fill in our survey. Thank you very much for this.
Right. Thank you so much, Martin. Thank you so much, Constantina, for introducing the survey. I just want to give a quick shout out to Haluk, who has just joined us. Thank you so much, Haluk, for joining our session. We did quick introductions just now. If you don't mind, saying a few words about yourself, that will be really nice.
Yeah, hi Subarna. Actually, I was planning to join from the beginning, but there was another session, so happy to be here. I'm just Haluk, and currently, normally I live in Greece. Currently, I'm in Istanbul. I'm Turkish, and I'm coming from business. And we work with Constantina in the formation of the Greece chapter. Hopefully, we shall have more interaction soon. I'm also part of private sector group and the membership and selection committee as well. And
Wonderful.
Very happy to be here.
Thank you so much, Haluk.
Thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as Constantina mentioned just now, it's time for us to, look at the survey. So I've actually posted the link to the survey in the chat, and we will take the next 15 minutes or so to give you time to answer the survey. Please be as honest as possible. Thank you. So it's
and then come back, because we're going to have a broader conversation afterwards. So
yes, don't leave after the survey, because we're not done. Oh, sure, Haluk, I'll post it again. Just a minute.
Thanks, Subarna.
No worries.
Perfect. I got it.
Okay, we are just waiting on Elizabeth to let us know which particular question it is she's having some difficulties with. Thanks, Haluk, for completing the survey. And I believe we've got one participant who has dropped off the session, probably due to internet connectivity, because Biko did mention he had some issues with streaming his video. So, can we, yeah, another 5 minutes. Yes, I agree, Miranda. Yeah, 5 more minutes, sure. Is there a link? Elizabeth, if you don't mind, could you unmute and share with us what exactly you want us to help you with? Is there a link to option 4 of SDG 13? Do you mean target 4 of SDG 13?
So perhaps we could just finish up and maybe come all back together. Don't know, Elizabeth, if you've been able to finish. But hopefully that was enough time to get through the survey. So what we hope to do with the next part of this session is just sort of a conversation about collaboration, the elements that go into a good collaboration. How can Catalyst 2030 facilitate collaboration among its members with a climate change focus, and also just to talk a little bit about how collaborations and partnerships can amplify your work. So perhaps we might just start off very quickly, Haluk and Elizabeth, just on any quick feedback on the survey, anything that struck you, anything that sparked anything. It would just be great to get some feedback on the survey as we try to take a temperature check here. No pun intended.
If you want, Elizabeth can go first.
Yes,
if she
Haluk,
completed.
please jump in.
Okay, I jump in. Okay, no worry. I'm a jumper, so no worry.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay. Actually, the survey was not very relevant with my organization, who is a very small consulting company, and we are not working on climate change. Mm-hmm. But more and more, I have been aware that the impact investment field might be an interesting field to intervene, and especially especially in the field. The climate part is very interesting. The net zero, the whole discourse about the net zero is very related with corporates that I'm very related with. So we plan to do something on it. But it's just at the preparation level. Other than this, it was not very relevant with the organization. But the one thing that I truly appreciated was the gender lens on the climate survey, because unfortunately inequalities are not even equally distributed among segments of society, and this is very easily forgotten. Mm-hmm. So I am very impressed to see this lens on it, and in every action I can do afterwards, or I can be involved afterwards. Mm-hmm. I would definitely have this lens. And one last sentence: I'm mentoring several people, especially young people that are involved in business and that are becoming more and more influential afterwards. And it's very important to have the climate lens and the gender lens on the climate to influence them as well. So these are my takeaways.
Yeah,
and
great.
Thank you for the survey.
Yeah, thank you. I'm interested in your comments about it not being very relevant to what you're doing now, but with sort of an understanding that perhaps others that you are working with, are becoming increasingly aware of the impacts of climate. And I'm wondering if you can just speak a little bit more about that aspect.
Actually, one of the Catalyst members, after I joined Catalyst, I became a little bit more involved in climate perspective. One of the Catalyst member wanted, or I wanted to make a collaboration with one of the Catalyst member, but the collaboration didn't work well, unfortunately. But it gave me a perspective about what is going on in this whole sphere, especially from the side of corporates, because I'm coming from business. Of course, I have relations, a lot of relations with corporates, and it was very interesting to see this as a very growing field. So I'm not talking purely on a moral perspective, but also from a business perspective, which I believe is very important to make the intersection Otherwise, it's almost meaningless to talk to the corporates or to the business world. Like of course, more and more young generations are getting very engaged about it, and of course they are developing an angle. But it is becoming much more efficient when you really intersect the business perspective together with the purpose perspective. So then it becomes all of a sudden it becomes very accelerated and much more efficiently undertaken as a consideration. So so this is my perspective, basically.
Yeah, no, it is certainly interesting to see how the business sector is coming to understand this intersection and the impacts as more and more. I think there's an understanding that climate change will affect every sector.
Exactly, exactly. I definitely agree with this comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to just take a moment. Lucas has joined us. Lucas, we have been talking a little bit about the purpose of this group, this working group within Catalyst 2030. I know Subarna has sent you a survey. We're trying to take sort of a temperature check of members at Catalyst 2030 about their understanding of climate change and how they intersect with climate change. But also we want to talk a little bit in this session about collaborations and how successful, collaborations that have been successful, collaborations that have not been, because Catalyst 2030 is about trying to accelerate partnerships and collaborations around the SDG goals. So we've all had an opportunity to go around and introduce ourselves. And I'm wondering, Lucas, if you'd like just to take a moment just to give us a little bit of a sense of who you are, where you're coming from, what part of the world you're coming from, you're beaming in from. Would that be okay, Lucas? Oh, wonderful.
Yes, thank you. Sorry, I may not be able to put on my camera because of the network coverage where I am.
That's
I'm
quite
Lucas.
all right.
Thank you very much. Lucas from Kenya. Well, I am the founder and actually the founder and the CEO of Asili Farms and Allied. Asili Farms and Allied is based in Kenya, and it's mainly focused on organic farming, and of course contract farming with the rural youths and women that are organized in social groups, as we call them this other side. Yeah, where we train them. In the process, rather, we train them. At times, we give them inputs to make sure that even though the organic farming may be, demanding in terms of finances, but again, we give them inputs on loans and something like that, so that at the end of the tail end, or rather at the end of the production cycle, we buy back, and we, if at all somebody took a loan from us, we deduct. And so we are trying to produce healthy foods, and at the same time also fighting the effect of climate change by incorporating our the few or rather the many organic farming principles that we also take them through. Yes, please. Yeah. Generally, that's what we do at Asili Farms and Allied in Kenya. Thank you indeed. Thank you.
That's wonderful. What a wonderful, wonderful initiative. So perhaps what might be helpful now is just let me pose this question, which is, all of us have had an opportunity to, to work with partnerships to accelerate the work that we're doing, or collaborations. And I'm wondering whether it might be helpful just within this group here to talk a little bit about some of the partnerships that have been successful and why, as we are thinking about, with this issue, how we accelerate solutions. And perhaps for everybody's benefit, we might just reintroduce ourselves and say a little bit about what we're working on. And if you like, I can just jump in to start and say that I have been working in higher education. I have been working in communications, and I recently was involved with a big university in the Boston area where we had a broadcast studio where we would do programming related to issues around public health. And we started, I noticed that as we were, as time went on, that increasingly our programming would touch on climate change, on environment, climate, public health, and heat related issues related to health, related to climate. And one of the things that we did that was successful in terms of a partnership was we were partnering with major media. What we would do is we would do a program that would be then webcast. And the quality of the program was done in a broadcast production fashion. And then many of our media partners would actually take the broadcast and push it out on their platforms. So we were leveraging social media and media partnerships with organizations like Reuters, The Economist, Washington Post, Huffington Post, NPR. So we were also providing them with, good quality content, good information, because news organizations are increasingly under, financial straits, shall I say. So it was sort of a win-win. We were able to provide them with good content, and they were able to act as a distribution system by getting more people to view our programming. So that is an example, at least from my perspective, of a collaboration, and the reason why of a successful collaboration. So perhaps I toss it over to somebody else in this group to perhaps talk about a collaboration that has been successful that you might want to just share. Sohini, wonderful. You need to unmute.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my work is actually on gender equity in India, and I work with a lot of popular culture and media. So how are women represented in popular culture? How that kind of changes mindsets of people? How when they look at women being portrayed on a film industry, and we have actually done a number of campaigns and other kind of things. Our target is adolescents and young adults, so 11 to 25 is the age group that we really look at, because that if we can shift the mindset and behaviors of that group of people, we're creating a generational shift in how gender equality is looked at. And one of the things that we then started doing is actually looking at how education is imparted at school level. And is there a gender lens into our curriculum, into how teachers teach children, and especially within the government school system, which is for the poor, and which is the largest education system in India. And when we looked at it, we found that teachers do not even, ask questions to girls, or push girls towards STEM education, or, push girls to talk about their dreams and aspirations, or consider the school as a very safe space. So that's what we are currently working on, and we partner with a couple of organizations who have nothing to do with gender, but with education, and working with, education administrators and teachers and others. And we are trying to bring in gender equity into that entire conversation. Believe me, it's very difficult, because we speak with 30 organizations every month, and everyone says, oh yes, we recognize that gender is a very interesting, important thing to talk about, but unfortunately we don't know how, because India is so rooted in patriarchy and gender discrimination. So when I was trying to kind of brainstorm with Julia here and Deepa on how to kind of bring gender into the consciousness of the Catalyst members. There are some who are working directly, but are the others using a gender lens in their work? And that's when this whole thing with climate action began, because you, as Haluk said, and Haluk really made my day, when he talked about it. Climate change impacts women and girls differently, and 70% of the world's poorest people are women. And yeah, as you know, poor people gets impacted by climate change the most. Yet, in India, in South Asia, and many other parts of the country, especially in Latin America also, I'm sure, you know about it much more than I do. Women work in very innovative ways to actually counter climate change. They have all the ideas, they have all the innovations. So why can't we make sure that in every climate action work that the Catalyst 2030 membership at least does, how can we bring in a lens of gender equity? How can we look at how it's impacting women and other genders, and how can we make sure that we are measuring that? Because unless we measure it, we will never know whether we are actually making a change. Which is why I thought the temperature check is a great tool to actually figure out whether you are looking at both these things in your work. So my request to Lucas, Elizabeth, Haluk, all is that please share this survey in your network. Please make sure that other people get to know about this survey and see how we are actually, and with your friends within the Catalyst, your groups within the Catalyst, to see how we are actually reacting to this. Yeah. So I'll stop here.
So it's wonderful because the partnership, the collaboration is with Catalyst 2030. So that's really terrific. It seems like given the gender lens, that there could be many additional possibilities for partnerships and collaborations, especially around climate. Maybe we take another example of successful. Or even not successful. I mean, sometimes lessons are to be learned from a partnership that didn't work. I don't know, Julia, maybe you have some ideas or examples, or perhaps Martin. I don't want to put anybody on the spot, but Julia, from your perch, I wonder whether you've seen some really interesting collaborations in Catalyst 2030, and what would you say is the key thing to consider in a successful collaboration? And then I want to talk about how can this group and how can Catalyst 2030 support other types of collaborations around climate. Did I put you on the spot, Julia?
No, it's okay. This is what I live and breathe at Catalyst. So I feel like I'm always prepared to answer this question, which I would have not
the right
been.
person.
I mean, what you asked is also kind of, I wish there was a silver bullet or a formula of this is how you build really successful partnerships and build the right kinds of relationships to actually make change happen on a systemic level. And unfortunately, there's really not. And I think that's one of the challenges in advising people in collaboration, especially in a network like Catalyst, is people ask, okay, what do I have to do? What are the steps? And all we can really think about is the principles, and have the principles inform how you actually, commit to that process and go through with it. But some things that I've noticed are, when people take the time to really get to know each other and like each other as much as is possible over Zoom, you're more committed to working together and actually going through the process, and that kind of accountability and trust that you have with others to actually deliver on what they say they're going to deliver on, or to come in with good ideas and enthusiasm is just, it makes working together that much easier. So taking the time to actually connect on more than a professional level, but Catalyst 2030 is a volunteer organization, and a lot of the social change sector is actually through kind of volunteer and pro bono work. So you ideally actually enjoy sharing time and space and resources with the people that you're working with. I would say another thing is conscious of all of the time and resource constraints that social enterprises and social businesses have. finding ways to communicate the value add of collaboration and how this is, we're more than the sum of our parts. Being able to articulate that from the outset, that's quite essential. And I would say the collaborations in Catalyst 2030 that have failed, to use a harsh word,
Well,
whether that
who
means
may have not achieved the goal, let's put it in a more polite way, may not have achieved their goals.
Yeah, exactly. I think part of that was people felt they were giving so much and not getting enough in return.
So maybe the partnership wasn't aligned.
Exactly. And people kind of had a different understanding from the beginning of what the overarching objective was. And so I think also kind of being conscious of that, making it very explicit in the beginning and checking in every now and again to make sure that everybody is still on the same page as the work continues. All of that is very essential.
Thank you, Julia. So I am wondering, just switching gears a little bit, for this group, which is a working group within Catalyst 2030, whether anybody around the Zoom table here has ideas about how, climate change can be infused with other parts of Catalyst 2030. I'm really struck by what Sohini said, the gender lens. How could we work with 2030 members to bring the climate change lens to some of the other working groups? And I'm wondering if anybody has any thoughts.
Before this, can I jump in about the collaboration part?
Yes.
As you have understood, I'm a little bit outsider to this community in the sense that I'm not from an NGO or something like this. But there is an important observation that I'm making about these collaborations, my work generally is always being an intermediary between two parties that have different languages and still common agenda. So what I observe among these collaborations is that people want to collaborate, but too quickly. Like they come to the table and they think that to come to the same table is enough for making the collaboration because they believe in the same purpose. But this is not. Because two people who believe in the same purpose may have very different lenses and very different agendas.
Yeah.
And it's very critical to first make the time for preparing an alignment process through which this full alignment within the purpose of this unique collaboration has to be designed. And it requires time. Julia is very right. People do business with people. People collaborate with people for sure. There is no other way. So personal connection is one step. But the second step should be like kind of developing a kind of language through which you will consistently be on the purpose. And if one part, let's say we collaborate as 6 parties or 4 parties. If one part is out of this language or the path, the others have to remind it through this language they were already developed within. Because otherwise, it's very easy because everyone works under-resourced. That's also an observation I have about all social enterprises and NGOs. They are all under-resourced.
Yeah.
And because of this, there are daily priorities that everyone has to stick on. And it's very easy that these daily priorities are becoming more dominant within the collaboration, and which is very like kind of disturbing the whole collaboration and making it outside of the real path.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make this.
No, it's such a good point. It's you know, as Julia said, you know, for successful collaborations, it's taking the time at the front end to make sure mission and purpose are aligned, to make sure your process is aligned, to make sure accountability, process and language is aligned, and that there is some system for accountability. You know, very, very important.
Okay.
So
Well,
I'm getting.
It was a good comment. Just a few seconds about partnerships and collaborations. We said that climate change calls for unprecedented inclusive partnerships, and that's the challenge, right? Because business needs to be at the table with stakeholders, with social innovators, with civil society, the main pillars, with government. And there are going to be new challenges, I think, at those tables, partnerships and collaborations. And we cannot underestimate the power of education and dialogue and facilitation during those processes. So I think it's in a way, it's something new in terms of building collaborations to reset the system, because what we're trying to achieve is a new system. So happy to hear that all comments that this is so important, that we are part of it.
Yeah, Martin, it's so spot on, and it's a wonderful way, you know, for us to sort of think. You know, it's brave new world, it's new territory, it's new approaches, it's new ways, and to keep an open mind. So perhaps with that, I'm getting, I don't know if you all know the expression, but I'm getting the hook, meaning that time is starting to tick away. And I know that Subarna was very much wanted to take a group photo, if possible. So perhaps in the last 90 seconds, sorry, I could turn it back over to Subarna.
Thank you so much, Miranda. That was a wonderful discussion, everyone. And unfortunately, you know, we've got just, you know, a couple of minutes left, and I know there are many other sessions after this. So Julia has posted, you know, links to how you can join us as a member of Catalyst 2030. So please do have a look at the links, and we welcome all of you to join us in the climate crisis gender collaborative initiative. Yeah, so I'm very bad with technology. Julia knows this very well, so I'm going to ask for Julia's help with the photos for the session. Thank you.
All right, everybody smile. Beautiful.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. Haluk, I've sent you a LinkedIn invite. So, you know, the next round when we meet, you know, feel free to reach out, and I'll include you when we have our next meeting. We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you. So
we'll try to join for sure. Thank you.
Thank you. So moving on, what will happen next is, you know, we are going to continue to open the survey because we want to get more responses so that we have, you know, much more data to work with. I think the videos that you saw, the first video talked about the importance of data, right? So that's what we're trying to do as well. So the survey will be open, and as Sohini mentioned, as Miranda mentioned, as all of us mentioned just now, please share this out with your connections, and you know, feel free to write to any of us. We've been sharing our email addresses here as well. If you're a member of Catalyst 2030, you can reach us via the Zoho Connect as well, or you know, just write to me and I'll patch you in with the team. Yeah, so thank you so much again. Good night. I know it has, good night from Malaysia. Yes.
Good night from India.
Good afternoon from Greece.
Good afternoon from Istanbul too.
I just love this. I just love this. Okay. So see you all soon. So see you all soon. Enjoy the
Bye.
rest of
Bye, everyone.
C2030 CCW. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Yeah.